Chat Noir, will you ever learn anything? I mean, I guess not if Ladybug has anything to say about it. So with the end of season 4, many people in the fandom have come to agree and disagree on different things, like the neglected Chat Noir arc. There's always been a fundamental problem with Ladybug and Chat Noir's partnership, and that's the fact that outside of episodes meant to emphasize that it is indeed truly a partnership, it doesn't feel like a partnership. It's like it's the Ladybug show, guest starring some guy in a leather cat themed dominatrix outfit. But here's what some people may have forgotten. The neglected Chat arc may have been addressed in season 4, but it actually started in season 2. I mean, technically the seeds were planted in season 1 in the Volpina episode. As I talked about in my video on Marinette's biggest problem with the plot, it took a ton of contrivances to get Marinette the Miraculous book without once involving Adrien in finding out anything. Plag had to fail to recognize it, Adrien had to take the book to school, Lila had to take the book from Adrien, Tiki had to recognize it, and Marinette took the book and eventually discovered the Guardian. But one of the lesser known effects is that this started the real crux of the neglected Adrien arc: information, and the complete unwillingness to tell him anything. Because while there are a lot of aspects in neglected Chat Noir arc, from the idea he's Ladybug's sidekick to the idea that he's just another holder, I don't think those are the real problems. Yeah, the show is mostly about Ladybug, but we can accept her being the brains of the operation as long as the show doesn't portray Chat as incompetent. Your opinion on if it does may vary. And sure, Chat is ridiculously underpowered compared to Ladybug, and that is a problem, undeniably, considering they're supposed to be equals, yet somehow Marinette has only gotten more and more powerful. But the real problem, as far as I'm concerned, has always been the show's insistence on keeping Chat in the dark about everything. While Ladybug being the one who makes the plans is perfectly understandable, looking at their personalities, what's not understandable is the need to treat Chat like an outsider. And it all began when the show contrived a way for Marinette to meet Master Fu before Adrien. After that, Marinette began being privy to information that logically there's no reason to keep hidden from Chat. This really comes to a head in the episode Siren.
If you don't tell me what Ladybug is hiding from me, I'm done.
You can't do that!
Why not? No one will know if I quit. No one will care.
This is the episode where Adrien notices that he's not being told a lot of things.
So what's my role then? The guy who's always left in the dark?
It's also the episode where he realizes that Ladybug is talking to someone who's involved in making decisions for them.
Okay, I'll talk to him about it.
Him? Who's him?
And when Marinette tells Master Fu about Adrien's feelings, he feeds her a frankly bullshit answer about the right time that actually doesn't justify the reason before distracting her and the audience with the new power upgrades concept the show was very quick to forget about unless Ladybug and Chat need to go to another country or space. Now some may say, but he met Adrien after the Siren incident, and to that I say, that fixes nothing. Besides the fact that I don't think he and Adrien actually meet after that episode, or at least if they do, the show's done a poor job of communicating it, and that they meet in a way that keeps Adrien from learning where Fu lives, like Marinette. They only met out of desperation because someone needed to give Adrien the potion that would allow him to gain his aquatic suit. I was 17 when that episode came out and I called bullshit. The right time turned out to be as soon as I can't get away with not telling him anything. A philosophy Marinette would go on to adopt.
Do you trust me too? Are you kidding? I will never trust you. Ha 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 ha.
Honestly, the extra holders are a part of this. Ladybug gets to know everyone's identity and Chat doesn't if they can get away with it. He only knows Pegasus, Bonix's and Ryuko's identities because he was right there when they got the Miraculous, and he knows Queen Bee's identity because everyone does. And the biggest nail in the coffin about this point is Luca. You know who knew Luca was Viperion? Adrien Agreste.
I'll go and hide. I'm sure you guys will succeed, Ladybug.
Did I miss something?
You know who isn't allowed to know? Chat Noir. In Kwame Buster, the moment Chat learns that Marinette is multi-mouse, then it's over. Marinette isn't allowed to be a Miraculous holder ever again, because her secret has been compromised. Like, I thought he would at least get to pick like one hero, but it turns out that if he does find out the hero's identity outside of a desperate situation, then that person is no longer allowed to be a hero again, because we can't have Chat Noir knowing anything. And you know what? The information bubble around Chat Noir just gets worse in season 4. And most importantly, he starts to notice. Gang of Secrets has Marinette reveal her identity to Alia and begins a whole arc about her finally having someone to confide in. But that means there's a whole new slew of things Chat isn't allowed to know, like that Rena Rogue is now a permanent Miraculous holder. Senti Bubbler straight up treats him as an antagonist who they need to keep in the dark. And don't get me started on Axan, where he learns A. Ladybug left town without telling him, B. Ladybug left a substitute to take her place, C. The substitute knows her identity. Sure, Chat says he understands that Paris will always need a hero, but seriously? The episode completely brushes off how he feels about the basic things he was upset about. Hell, Marinette even admits that she would be upset in his position. There was a fan theory that he would get his own person to confide in, similar to Alia, but he doesn't, because that would involve a secret Ladybug isn't keeping from him. And I have to mention that Chat loses a 20-second fight with Scarabella as soon as he meets her, because when there's a wound available, there's no reason to not pour salt in it. At this point, I won't be shocked if be better than the Black Cat Miraculous is one of the Ladybug Miraculous's powers. Oh, and he learns that Nino is Carapace, Alia is Rena Rogue, and that Ladybug let them know each other's identities in Rocketeer. Don't get me wrong, Alia really shines in this season, mostly, but it only makes Chat feel worse. And Ephemeral is the worst offender because the plot revolves around Ladybug trying to reveal Chat Noir's identity to Luca without his knowledge. Like, the audacity! Forget not being allowed to know Ladybug's secrets, he's not even allowed to know that she's revealing his secret to other people. When all of this is put together, it's very easy to come to the conclusion she just doesn't trust Chat. Not with her secrets, not even with his own. And every time she says they can't reveal each other's identities to each other because there's a risk Hawkmoth could akumatize them now rings hollow because she didn't even hesitate to try and tell Luca, who's been akumatized twice. All this instead of, just telling Chat to tell Suhan himself. That doesn't even cross her mind. Ladybug, this isn't Master Fu. Chat knows that Suhan exists. You can have an adult conversation with him about the need to tell new Super Guardian or whatever you call Suhan his identity without all this subterfuge. The only thing that actually changed her mind about this ridiculous plan is having the timeline rewound and finding out that her course of action would end the world. And thus we come to Kuroneko, the episode truly meant to address these problems, and the root of it is Chat is in love with Ladybug. The problem behind this arc isn't that Chat is in love with Ladybug. Okay, that can be a problem, but not in this instance. The problem isn't even entirely that he feels expendable and like any other holder. The problem is a complete breakdown on communication. Other people are just blatantly allowed to know things he's not, and he's starting to notice.
This one, Rena.
Huh? Rena Rouge? Where is she?
Rena who?
Frankly, if he concludes that Ladybug just doesn't trust him, you can hardly blame him for it. The idea that this whole arc wouldn't be a thing if he wasn't in love with her is frankly ridiculous. Now, to be fair to Marinette, the communication breakdown isn't entirely her fault. Chat is the one who, in his infinite attempts to be supportive and understanding of her duties as a guardian, isn't telling her how upset he feels, and that's on him. Honestly, the show seems genuinely allergic to the idea of having Chat tell Ladybug he thinks she's wrong, especially if it's not for a stupid reason. It's why the only one who's allowed to actually point out when Ladybug's fucked up is Ladybug. But that doesn't absolve her from her own feelings. And you know what? I know Marinette still has issues with Chat Blank, but what did Adrien say again?
I'll never get akumatized.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Maybe because you never talk to me about anything.
Yeah, I don't know why she's keeping Chat Blank a secret, to be honest, if it's supposed to be her excuse for how she's treating Chat Noir. Honestly, with Chat Blank in mind, the distance she wants to put between them makes some sense. Not a lot, but some. And yes, she has responsibilities as the Guardian. But the issue started before she became the Guardian, and the information blockade is way too much to the point where he's not allowed to know things she has no reason to keep from him. Ephemeral, Haxan, and Sensible Blur are three separate instances where not telling him basic information could have led to Hawkmoth's victory. And then we have Strike Back, which acknowledges Marinette's mistake and hits her with the full force of all the consequences. But all it does is acknowledge it, and we've seen the show acknowledge its characters' mistakes only to have them fail to fix it. It's going to need a bit more. In season 5, I hope this information blockade finally comes down and she stops hiding everything from him. She doesn't have to tell him everything, but the excessive secret keeping needs to stop. Chat Noir is her partner, not an obstacle she needs to maneuver around to do her job. But what do you guys think? Have I hit the nail on the head, or am I wrong? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and while you're down there, hit the like button and subscribe for more content. Thank you and good day.